Hey, I'm Yuki.
And I'm Hayden.
And this is Feed. How fucking hard is it to sharpen a knife?
Well, we'll see.
What's the tea-towel for?
The tea-towel is to stop our stone slipping.
Yes.
So we've got a few knives here. We've got Miyuki's beautiful made in Japan Mac knife, which is also my choice of chef's knife. And Miyuki's has a little dent in the end, which leads me to believe it's probably been dropped at some point in its life.
Probably been dropped many points in his life.
Well, it's lucky.
Get it? But
So I'm going to use my oil stone, which is really rough, just to get the little burr out of the end. So this is the oil stone, which is
what's it made of?
It is made of schist and all sorts of hard stones. So it's got a really rough side, which hardly ever use on knives, but just to get that little bit off, and then it has a quite a smooth side. We're just gonna use that, and then we'll use my water stone. So we just use a little bit of oil on this type of stone.
Do you always use oil on that?
On this one you do, yeah, because
Does it
it's a hard stone, so water won't lubricate it.
Right.
Cool. So we've oiled the rough side of the stone, and there's a little burr on the end. So I'm just gonna run that, and hopefully that'll just come away. This is a very unscientific method, other than we just want to, yeah, cool. That's straighten that back out. It was only a real little bit, so it's
it might be
back the other way. Yeah.
Does it matter what oil you use on the stone?
Cheap canola cooking oil is fine.
So you don't want to use truffle oil?
No.
What if you
unless you're balling. Sesame oil for a bit of cool. So that's pretty smooth now, and we're going to sharpen. So we'll get rid of that.
Cool.
And we're going to use this one, which is a wet stone, which we soak in water just to get it moist, and we need to add like a little bit of water as we go.
And what's this one made of?
This is made of some kind of stone.
Oh,
yeah.
It looks like terracotta.
Yeah. They're quite soft, so this is quite new, this one still. As you use them, you need to try and use it in a nice even motion across the whole stone, because otherwise it will take away from the stone.
Oh, in the middle.
And it will be lopsided, and your knife won't sharpen. So there's a few different ways to do it. The most important thing for a chef is probably to always do it at the same angle. So in a sense, it doesn't matter what angle you're doing it at, as long as the angle is always the same, so that's keeping your edge the same. So ideally when you get a new knife, you want to do it at the angle that it's already on. You can buy these handy little guides, so you just slip your knife in without cutting yourself, and then that would hold your knife at the right angle.
How does it know that that's the right angle?
Most chef's knives will be at, I think it's about 15 degrees, so they will be at that angle, and we can see that is about there.
Is using one of those like having training wheels? Like, is it considered unprofessional?
It pretty much is, but then if it's doing it right, it's better than doing it wrong. So getting used to it is the biggest thing. So once you know what angle you do it at, and if you can keep a steady angle, then that's probably the most important thing. There's a couple of ways you can do it. The traditional, I guess, English or French way is to start at the heel of your knife and to use the whole stone and bring it down on an angle from one side to the other. The Japanese way is to up and down horizontally in the same spot, and then move along and move along.
Oh, okay. Oh, like actually scrape it down, then scrape it up again.
Yeah, so we go like that.
Oh yeah.
And then a way that a lot of chefs I've seen do it, and I like to do it because I think it relates to how you'd use your knife on a steel, is to finish my knife along this way, because I feel like I'm getting the same angle, and I always find it gets that little bit more accurate. So I think for any beginners at home, a good way is to have your heel on the corner and just bring it down at the same angle right along the knife to the tip.
How many times do you have to do this?
Probably only if you start with about 4 or 5 on each side. So in theory, our knives should always be even, unless we're a sushi chef and we want a knife that has one edge. So this knife was quite sharp to start with.
Thank you.
like it hadn't been used much. So
We're too scared to use it.
yeah. I think it's a very personal thing, just getting used to what works for you. So I always like to have something a little bit soft. Tomato is always a good indication of how sharp your knife is. So this should just slide through our tomato pretty easily, and you can feel the bite in the board. Like, you know, if
How
you
do
can
you
feel
mean? Like it's like.
yeah, you know your knife's sharp when you cut on a wooden chopping board.
Ooh.
As opposed to being blunt, it bites into the board a little bit more.
Yeah.
Does that feel sharp to you? It's
Yeah.
going right through that tomato without too much
Whoa!
without too much effort.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
if your knife's really blunt, it might take a few more.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, a few more goes at it. So we'll put that one aside because it's sharp, so we don't want to ruin it. And we've got this
Oh,
handy.
so you can over sharpen a knife.
No, you all you're doing is wearing away the knife.
Oh.
So what we'll see with this one, which it's not the bluntest knife in the world, but it does have a few little chips out of the blade, so that'll make things interesting.
I got it from the supermarket.
So we want to make sure our stone
Can I
has
have
a
a go?
bit of layer of water, and I'll just show you a wee trick. If you have a knife that's a bit blunter and you're going to have to sharpen it a lot more, you'll notice on the stone that the some of the knife is coming away.
Yeah.
That's called the chafe, and you want to leave that on there because it creates more friction to do it. So once we've got some happening, just see what that's done to it, and then you can have a go. So there we go. Take our tomato away.
So am I going up and down or Frenchy?
I think the Frenchy way is the better. So if you start from the heel and maybe like a bit less of an angle.
Like that?
Yep.
That feels horrible.
And what you want to do is keep all your fingers on top of the knife where you can see
Oh,
them.
where
So
am
if
I?
you spread them along.
Like that?
Yeah.
Where does my
let's
thumb
see.
go?
Not under the knife is all. So like that. So just on top or
Oh, okay.
on the blade there. Like don't tuck them
Oh,
under
right.
in case you go back and. So well, you can do it like that. So you can see. The angle in a lot of ways is a lot more important than the
Like that?
than the motion you're doing. All
Yeah.
you want to do is try and bring it down the stone a bit further because you're just going through the middle, so that's
So
just
like
gonna
more like that?
no the other way.
Oh.
But go right from this corner, right down to that corner, because if you're just going back and forward here, you're gonna wear away the middle of the stone. So you want to use as much of the stone in the stroke as you
so
can.
like that.
Keep going down, bring the heel down,
I'm so confused.
keep going. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Should I be going back up as well?
It doesn't matter. Like the up and down motion isn't as important as just the blade scraping across
Yeah.
the stone.
And why do you use this instead of a steel?
So a steel is for maintaining the edge of the knife, and a stone is for giving your knife the edge, so it's coarser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you get your knife nice and sharp, you need to steel it all the time when you're using it to maintain the edge.
Oh, wow. So how many times a day do you use this?
Depending how much you're chopping. If you're standing there chopping, if you chop 10 onions, you should probably steel your knife like once in that 10 onion time.
Oh.
Or, like at least again at the end of it. Yeah.
And
You can't oversteel your knife because it doesn't take
Right.
it doesn't take that much off your knife. So even just once you get used to it and you know how to keep your knife sharp, just a couple of light blows on the steel will keep it sharp.
And how often do you use the stone?
Whenever your knife starts to go blunt.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're really good and really disciplined and use your steel all the time, I think you need to drop your angle a little bit. You can notice even in just putting your knife across the stone once, if your angle goes wrong, your knife can still be sharp, but if one side is higher than the other, you'll slice instead of straight down, you'll feel your knife wanting to pull one way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's what I mean. Some mostly Japanese knives you can get and they have one edge and it's for doing different things, but if you cut through an onion or a courgette or something soft, you'll feel the knife just go like this or like that, depending which way the knife is.
Amazing. I didn't think that this knife could get sharp.
A lot of cheap knives are soft as steel, and they will sharpen easier. Yep. So you can see there's a bit of goop there, so that's good. We don't want to wash it away, but we just want to keep a bit of water on there. I can feel the little dings in the knife. They're not terrible, but no, they're there. So I'm just, hopefully we're doing about the same angle. And then what I always do for me is I just go like this, because you know your knife's going to get a nice even angle and an even blow.
Do you ever get used to that like feeling? It feels like a blackboard.
Yeah, I usually don't like those blackboardy cornflour feelings, but for me it's not so bad. So we'll see what it does to our tomato. It's still quite blunt. It is.
There we go.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we've got another half tomato here if you want to.
Not cut myself.
More importantly, not cut me.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely better. It needs probably a real good.
It'd be alright for potatoes or something.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. And what about cleaver?
Then we've got the cleaver.
Is this even a good knife? I bought it in Thailand, and it has Japanese on it, so I figured it was good.
It must be good. Cleavers don't get the same amount of sharpness because they're made for use the force rather than the blade. So I don't know if you can see, but the edge is a lot wider. The edge on these knives, and especially
so like you mean this bit?
No, it's just the very
down
bottom.
There. Yep.
Yeah. So it has a wide edge, so it's like it's a wedge for breaking things apart as opposed to really fine, accurate cutting. So I reckon this will cut the tomato. That's all right. It's quite sharp.
What should one use a cleaver for, apart from killing people?
Yeah, definitely really hefty things like cutting through lamb racks or something like that, where there's going to be a bit of bone at the bottom of it, or Chinese use them a lot more for vegetable preparation, so things that don't need to be really smoothly cut, so you can cut carrots, and it's just the theory behind it is just using the weight rather than chopping, so you can just really easily cut through things. There are amazing Chinese chefs that have really sharp edged cleavers, and they use them for all sorts and can do amazing vegetable prep with them. Sharpening, pretty much the same deal, except you've just got, like you'll probably be able to notice on this that you can see the edge there, so it's a lot easier to get your angle because you'll be able to feel the angle if you put it flat, and then you can feel when it bites into the angle.
Okay. Yeah.
It's as simple as just seeing the angle there and feeling it on the back. It's exactly the same for sharpening. Just try and get it right along the edge. You can feel when it goes off it because it has that big, huge lip at the top of the edge. You can feel it rock back and forward. So I think even just that little, that feels really sharp to me. Try and go through that tomato. So it wasn't blunt to start with, so we haven't had to do it much, but I think it's not so precise that you could just really have a good go at it with the steel, and you're probably not going to ruin it. Yeah. So it's easy to sharpen a knife if you know what you're doing, or you've had lots of practice.
And where do you get all these things from?
There's any good hospitality supply shop, Total Food Equipment or Southern Hospitality, someone like that, and there's some great websites, especially for Japanese brand knives and stones. So just
we can put the link for this one.
Just get on the Google. Miyuki and I both bought our Mac knives from
a website. Link below. There's lots of good knives. It's all about what you feel comfortable with, and maybe just asking someone who might know what type of knife you would use for what. Use the right knife for the right job.